Hello everyone, thank you for clicking and welcome back to a quick run through of the Women's Super League race in Munich this past weekend. Race number 2 in the Super League 2021 Championship Series. I have highlight and analysis videos for the men's and women's races in London and also the men's race in Munich on my channel too, so be sure to check those out and hit the subscribe button for more triathlon content. Race 2 would be over the equaliser format. Everyone would race a 2.4km bike time trial first, and the splits from that would be used to determine the starting order and deficits going into the main race of 2 back-to-back consecutive triathlons of a 300-metre swim, 3.6km bike and a 1.8km run. There would be a short shoot on offer to the first athlete through the swim and T1 that would allow them to cut the final corner on the last run. Lopez was one of the early starters on the TT. I mentioned in my video on the men's race about the camera bikes being a bit too close, and you can see that here. This camera sticks with Lopez for much of the bike, and although she demonstrated that she could stick with the big names on the bike in London, I don't think it's a coincidence that she then sets one of the early benchmark times. Other notable rides from the TT included Emily Morier, who put out the fastest time overall, beating Kingma by 2 seconds, who had a strong ride herself, catching Cassandra Beaugrand, who started 10 seconds ahead of her. Jess Learmonth put herself in a good position to take the short shoot after the first swim, only 4 seconds down, matching the time of Lopez. However, from these close shots, you can see Learmonth had a windbreak of a camera bike ahead of her too, which no doubt shaved off a couple of seconds. Sophie Caldwell rounded out the top 5, a further second down. GTB didn't turn up with quite the same bike strength we saw in London and would start around 8 to 10 seconds back, but still ahead of Zefiras, who didn't quite have the runway to wind up the speed on the short, punchy course. Emily Morier led into the water, but Learmonth soon moved up towards the front in her usual inside position, ready to cut a nice smooth but tight line around the upcoming turns. Kingma and Lopez were both there too, looking to poach the short shoot. Learmonth kept on the front, not forcing any real gaps behind, but stringing out the field. As in London, Lopez was glued to Learmonth's feet, with Barthélemy putting in a good swim in third. As they headed out of the water up the incline to T1, Learmonth opted for the stairs with Lopez for the grass slope. However, in a reversal from last week, Learmonth had the better T1 position and had grabbed her bike before Lopez even reached hers. Learmonth crosses the mountain line to take the all-important short shoot. You can see the time splits here. Caldwell and Kingma, a couple of strong cyclists, 7 seconds back. However, GTB, Holland and Zefiras are 13 to 14 seconds back in the middle of the main pack. Lopez actually drops the ball a bit with her transition and breaks a steady stream of athletes, leaving Learmonth with a little bit of a gap and an opportunity to go solo that she doesn't hesitate to take. Learmonth is looking strong and making the most of being solo on the narrow bike course. Behind, the chase is fractured with Caldwell and Kingma in chase pack 1 and GTB and Zefiras in chase pack 2. It takes 1 lap for each of these groups to get organised, with the stronger riders on the front and another lap for them all to come together. And whilst the chase is getting continually disrupted by the cobbles, the climbs and descents and the turnaround points, Learmonth is growing her gap. Again though, you can see close shots from the camera bike here, no doubt giving Learmonth a bit of a draft. Really annoying for me as a spectator, but also I imagine for the athletes, as they don't want to have their performances questioned by keenos like me on the internet. Learmonth heads on to the first of 2 runs with a 15-second gap, and this might be one of the final opportunities for the others to catch her. If they don't make up this ground in the run, Learmonth, the best swimmer here, will head into the water solo, and we will probably see a repeat of the bike dynamic we've just seen. A quad of Potter, Holland, GTB and Zefiras emerges as strongest behind and a clawing back time on Learmonth, but Learmonth seems to be a very good front runner and holds on well, taking a 9-second lead onto the second swim bike run. Behind, Potter enters the water first, and this proves to be a bit of a hindrance to the chase, as it takes a while for Zefiras to get to the front of this pack, with GTB opting to stay away from the front. As a result, the pace slows, demonstrated by some athletes getting back into this group, and Learmonth extending her lead to 22 seconds as she heads on to another solo bike effort. With a sizable lead and a short shoot in hand, Learmonth just needs to keep it steady out front and ensure she takes a 10-second gap or so onto the run. The chasers looked motivated initially, but at no point do they really look like catching Learmonth, who takes 25 seconds onto the final run. The fight for the remaining podium spots is still on though, with Zefiras, Spivey, Potter and GTB fighting it out. GTB, who said she wasn't feeling it on the day in her post-race interview, stuck with it and steadily pulled away from the rest into second place, whilst Potter opens up a gap on Zefiras on the final downhill. Another GB clean sweep with Learmonth and GTB out front in the overall series rankings. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, especially as we have a very big triathlon week coming up with both the Super League in Jersey and the 70.3 World Championships in St. George.